What I saw was yellow with black spots.
Ooh, this fits your description. You saw a banana.
Welcome back to Transformers Cyberverse. In today's review, we're taking a look at episode 3 of season 2, The Visitor. We begin this episode with Wheeljack demonstrating a bunch of his inventions to Optimus Prime. I like how in this series they emphasize the mad scientist aspect of Wheeljack's character, which, now that I think about it, isn't something we've seen in Wheeljack since the original. I mean, Armada Wheeljack was just sort of an angsty traitor. He didn't even look like Wheeljack. He looked more like Sideswipe. And to make matters even more confusing, in Japan he wasn't called Wheeljack. Instead he was named Rampage. Which, if you think of the G1 Predacon, doesn't make much sense. But if you then consider Beast Wars Rampage, it kind of makes sense. While he may not be a cross between Hannibal Lecter and Frankenstein's monster, he is a faction switcher. In Beast Wars, Rampage, or Protoform X, was originally a Maximal before Megatron cut out a piece of his spark and basically enslaved him into becoming one of his Predacons. In Armada, Wheeljack, or Rampage, switched sides after Hotshot left him trapped under a piece of burning rubble and was saved by Megatron. So I guess they do have that in common. Anyways, I'm spending a lot of time on other Wheeljacks. Let's see. Then we had Energon Downshift, who looked exactly like Wheeljack, but obviously was instead called Downshift for some unknown reason, and didn't really do anything in that series. He was probably best known for having his name constantly swapped with his buddy Cliffjumper, who again doesn't look anything like G1 Cliffjumper. Then we had Animated Wheeljack, who definitely seemed to be a scientist and worked with Perceptor on the Omega Supreme project. But he was basically a cameo and didn't even have any lines. Then in Dark of the Moon we got Q, who is the movie series Wheeljack. Except, like I just said, for some reason they called him Q and not Wheeljack. But that was just in the Dark of the Moon movie itself. In everything else, from the comics to the toys, he was called Wheeljack. There was even a much more traditional Wheeljack looking repaint and remold of him. And then in the Bumblebee movie, whether you want to consider that a prequel to the Bay movies or its own separate thing, he was back to being much more of a G1 style Wheeljack. But he's in it so briefly, we don't really get a feel for his character at all. Then we had Prime Wheeljack, where he was a wrecker, and not really the old G1 mad scientist Wheeljack that we all know.
Which one is the real Wheeljack? I lost track!
And then we arrived back here at Cyberverse. So yeah, I'd say more often than not, when we get a Wheeljack, he's either not a mad scientist Wheeljack, he's not called Wheeljack, he's in it barely enough to be called a cameo, or some combination of those. It really hasn't been since G1 that we got the mad scientist Wheeljack as part of the recurring cast. So yeah, anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, still at the beginning of the episode where Wheeljack is demoing some of his inventions for Optimus. By the way, I really like Wheeljack's cute little helper drone here. Part of me wishes it was designed to look more like the ones in Beast Machines, but maybe that's because one of Wheeljack's inventions here looks kind of like a spark extractor. Meanwhile, Bumblebee is asking around the Ark to try and figure out what it was that he saw on the moon. This is kind of a cool sequence because everyone he asks has lines. They could have easily just had them shake their heads and save on voice acting budget, but it's a subtle way to help flesh out the Autobot ranks and the world of Cyberverse in general that would feel much more hollow if everyone was just silent. Bumblebee eventually comes to RC, who gets her first speaking line in the show.
Oh, a yellow spotted earth creature. Like this?
And she's playing Pong! I mean it, it literally says Pong up here in big Cybertronian letters. By the way, I thought maybe these other two words on the left and right sides were the player names, which would have been a really neat way to sneak in some Easter eggs for some name drops in the show. But all they say are exit and settings, so they're not player names, just UI. And while I'm at it, we see those Cybertronian numbers again here. And though I still haven't found an official translation of what they mean, I'm going to guess that they're the numbers 1 and 3. So if RC is the player on the left, I'm guessing that means she was already losing before Bumblebee interrupted her. RC shows Bumblebee some selfies she took with some animals. A giraffe, a gorilla, and then finally a cheetah. Wait a minute, a gorilla? That's gotta be a reference to Beast Wars, right? I mean, okay, First, we get a shot of a giraffe, which, maybe a tenuous reference to Longrack at best. But then the flash of gorilla in front of us before getting to a cheetah when we know Cheetor is in the show. Plus the fact that this is RC.
What in the name of my great aunt Aussie is going on here?
So this has got to be some kind of purposeful reference, right? I mean, the only way it could be more obvious is if she showed us a rhino and a rat too. A velociraptor probably wouldn't have worked because these are probably from all present day Earth. And a white tiger and a falcon probably would have been too much. But I know I certainly would have welcomed the references. Heck, I'd love an episode of Cyberverse that's just RC presenting a slideshow of her summer vacation around the globe where she took selfies with animals that are all references to Beast Wars characters and locations. But I imagine anyone who's not a huge Beast Wars fan wouldn't like it very much. Also, somehow this 15 seconds of RC in this episode has gone a long way to potentially making her my favorite version of RC ever. She's a gamer and she references Beast Wars? I think I'm in love. Anyways, Bumblebee finally learns what a cheetah is. Seriously, he didn't know that. Maybe he needs to go to school with the Rescue Bot recruits. I bet they know what a cheetah is.
Yes, sir.
Most edifying.
Excellent.
We then transition to Wheeljack's lab, as he and Grimlock are fighting over his little drone, which Grimlock wants to use to serve Energon at his party.
Hey, will this help me track down a moon cheetah?
Wait, that's that thing that we saw Windblade pull out of who knows where early in the last season.
Maybe I can find out what's wrong with you. I'm going to enter your mind using this. A cortical psychic patch. Oops, no, that's not right. Sorry.
We never did find out what that thing was or what it did. So are we going to finally find out now?
Moon cheetah? I don't know, but I might have a mammal detector. Come on, let's see.
No, unfortunately not. While Wheeljack is helping Bumblebee, Grimlock drinks all of Wheeljack's new hyperfuel.
Sonic, he can really move. Sonic, he's got an attitude. Sonic, he's the fastest thing alive.
Is this what Blur runs on? Oops, sorry, I guess I mean ran on. Well, Grimlock's hyped up on Energon and runs rampant through the Ark.
I just got a repaint. So did I. Mine looks better.
Repaint. Cool reference to the toys. But I feel like this would have been a better joke if they were actually different colors from the generic Autobots we've seen before. But oh well. Wheeljack uses his Mega Magnetizer on Grimlock in hopes of sticking him to the wall, but Grimlock's too strong and ends up having Hot Rod and Windblade stuck to him instead. Although why didn't Wheeljack and Bumblebee get stuck to him too?
You going to Grimlock's party later?
I was thinking about it.
Wait, what? Did Hot Rod just ask Windblade out? Oh my god, look at both of their expressions. They're flirting. They're totally flirting with each other. Should we start shipping Hot Rod and Windblade now?
Why does everything in our life have to be metal?
I mean, you are robots, so makes sense. Anyways, Bumblebee and Wheeljack make a stand at the Ark's entrance when Bumblebee grabs one of Wheeljack's inventions, which turns out to be a black hole generator.
This is bad. This is very bad.
I know, right? This is serious trouble. A black hole could potentially swallow not just Hot Rod and the rest of the Autobots, but also the entire Ark along with the mountain and the entire Earth itself. But luckily Optimus uses Wheeljack's bubble gun to seal up the black hole, asks a physicist how that would even work, and basically puts Grimlock in a floating hamster ball until he tires himself out. As we end the episode with Cheetor appearing before Bumblebee and Hot Rod, leading to them chasing after him, and Hot Rod and Cheetor disappearing. And that's it for episode 3 of season 2 of Cyberverse, The Visitor. Not much of a visit. Cheetor literally shows up at the last minute of the episode and then takes off. Still, this was kind of a fun episode even if it didn't amount to a whole lot in the overall plot of the season. Wheeljack doing his mad scientist thing, Gamer Girl RC referencing Beast Wars, and Hot Rod and Windblade flirting were all major highlights. I am disappointed we never got to see Grimlock's soiree. I wanted to see what the Autobots do at a party. Was there going to be music and dancing? I need to know, Hasbro and Boulder Media. I need to know how to partner up my ships. I mean, we already got a hint at Hot Rod and Windblade. Wait, what would their couple name be? Hot Blade or Windrod? Would Bumblebee and RC be a couple? Bumblesea? RB? Man, those are both too cute. I'm not joking. I kind of want to see that now. What about Wheeljack and Grimlock? Wheellock? Grimjack? I think Wheelock makes more sense. Grimjack sounds weird and dirty. How about Rack and Ruin? Would he dance with himself? Also, how did I not notice this before? They have a shuttle inside the Ark. They even used it previously in the episode The Journey. That has to be another reference to Beast Wars, right? Anyways, that's it for this episode. Remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share, ring the bell, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you back here for episode 4, Bring Me the Spark of Optimus Prime. No, I mean it. That's what the title of the episode is. Alright, see you guys then.
You going to Grimlock's party later?
I was thinking about it.
Yuck.